Alright gang, welcome back to our Island Preservation Challenge on Ronida Island. It is April, and April means a lot of good things are about to happen. April means, one, we are going to be selling the clothes today. And with that, we're going to sell these couple pallets of crickets that we have as well, just to get ourselves a little bit more money. But, yes, today means we are going to be selling clothes, and it means we're going to make a boohoo amount of money. Now, I have done a little bit of pre-work already before this episode started. One, I already got all of the spinach up off the field over there, and as you can see, the spinach has started to regrow. Now, I moved the spinach over here into the palletizer, thinking it would just kind of store it of some sort, like an imaginary store it, but it spawned them immediately in 2 pallets. I don't know why, but they're there anyway, I guess, so they're out of the way, so I'm not really going to complain too much, but it's just not exactly how I expected that to work. So I still think my idea a while ago about going with a silo and putting stuff into a silo until we need it and then moving it into the palletizer is the way to go. Obviously, when we start utilizing the harvester, that is going to be the only way we can go, right? But anyway, for the time being, we'll let it just do its thing, I guess. I also already have the stone collector over here prepped and ready to go because we're going to plow up the knife field today. I've already got the workers started, and they might be getting close at this point. You can see them in the far distance there if you look close enough, or if you squint. Putting oilseed radish down in that field over there. And yeah, so we've got our barley field and a wheat field today ready to harvest, and they have just finished their job. That's kind of what I was expecting. So we got a lot to do, gang. A lot to do today. The other thing to do, really, is we need to get some kind of a hoe or a weeder to get rid of all of this in this field. As all of you correctly pointed out, which I didn't realize, spinach regrows. You don't have to replant it or reseed it, which is kind of exciting, right? But the problem with this field is we have no fertilization on it, so the yield is not going to be great, right? It's not going to be great. But you're not spending any money, you know, to do anything else, right? You're not spending any money to actually reseed it or anything like that. You're not spending the effort to do any of that. So we'll, with some of this money that we're going to make from these clothes, we're going to fit to buy some kind of a weeder or a hoe. It'll probably be the one that we use often. You know, I mentioned many times, and I do mean it, that, you know, sometimes I would like to, in theory, try to continue to change things up and use different equipment that we normally don't use, but in this instance, it's really just going to be only for that field, because most of the fields we're going to be plowing up, right? At least for a while. In my eyes, I might as well just go with something that I'm used to, and it's not very expensive, right? So we'll probably go with the standard one that we use all the time, just because I like it. And yeah, we almost have enough money for it at current, right? Without even having to do anything. So this is a lot of clothes, gang. We are going to make a lot of money here. This is going to be nuts. This is going to be nuts. This is really going to catapult this series to the next step, right? It really is. We're going to be getting a lot of stuff here over the coming months. Now, are we going to buy all that stuff right now today? Probably not. Probably not. We will buy a few things, but I can't imagine that we're going to actually buy everything today. We're probably not going to buy the cotton harvester today. There's not really a reason to do so. There is no cotton to be harvested today, so, you know, while we certainly want to buy that and we want to make sure we keep enough money to do so, we don't really need it right now. Also, you never know. Unlikely that we'll get lucky again, but you never know. Maybe one will pop up in the used market for us. If it does, great. That means we can actually, you know, utilize that to our advantage and buy a used one. But if it doesn't, it doesn't, right? It is what it is. I'm not going to be able to move that, evidently. Whoops. Move that, though. So, still having issues, by the way, with ModHub. I thought we were going to finally make some progress there, and it's giving me the same exact issues as it was giving me before, even if I go on Wi-Fi now. So, well, I just caused more issues there, didn't I? Whoops. Because I can't really pick that up. I'm going to have to go get the forklift and bring it over here. I was trying to, you know, align this up a little bit better, and I guess I should have just picked them up one at a time, because that probably would have been the best way to go about this, but, yeah, anyway. I'm just trying to line these crickets in a little better of a situation for us so we can get more stuff on here, so I don't have to make as many trips, because I think we're going to have to make multiple trips no matter which way we cut it here. Of course, unless we're able to throw some on top of each other, which I kind of want to do, but again, it's just going to depend on how things go. Yeah, we're going to have to get the forklift to get that last cricket thing up here, but that's all right. I'm going to put this over here for now, because there is a spot where you can stack stuff here too. Just for the time being, we'll utilize that. We'll continue to utilize that, I guess, as our maneuvering pallet of clothes. Whoa, whoa, Z, whoa, buddy. Well, that went well. All right, so now that the worker has finished kind of down there, I'm actually going to take a break here from stacking. Probably needed it. We're going to jump down here. We'll grab this, and we're going to head on up to our knife field. And kind of get it prepped and ready to go, right? So we need to get the plow. So we'll come over here. We'll drop this one off. We'll go get the plow. I'm probably just going to drop this off kind of in the middle. It's going to be kind of a bit of a mess here, but we can clean that up later. We just got a lot to do, and I want to try to accomplish as much as we can today. Ideally, honestly, the most important thing in my eyes right now is to get both the barley and the wheat fields harvested, just because we know we need some food for the chickens, right? And so whatever else the worker can do, so be it, right? So be it. But it's going to be probably a bit before all of this is all said and done, right? We're going to absolutely be doing 2 episodes here in April. There's no way we don't. Just kind of, listing off all the things that do need to be done. And you can kind of go from there. So for the time being, I'm just going to park this right here. Just get it a little bit closer, right? And we're going to go ahead and jump in here into the plow, and we'll set the worker on their merry way there with the knife field. Just going to take a bit of a shortcut here. I'm just going to go over here. And we'll go to the worker here, and then... we'll do a 5.6 meter working width. That way they hopefully hit everything, but we're probably still going to have to go around the edges a bit. They always miss stuff. All right, worker's going to do their thing. Let's jump into this and head on over here. So on the way over here, perhaps what the issue is there with the spinach, and I mean, we can try it again, but perhaps what the issue is that I didn't have the spinach on. In other words, what I mean by that is, I didn't actually turn the spinach on in the actual menu itself, so it was just automatically spawning them out there, even though it's set to storing. But if I, turn it on and have it as storing, maybe it'll keep them in there. I don't know. We're going to try that. I went ahead and turned them on already, so we're going to try that. This is not going to be a good thing to be on the sand with. All right. That's going to have to do. We'll put a strap down on it so we don't move. I should be able to put some stuff on top of it, though. They're relatively in a proper alignment now where I should be able to do that. Hopefully I can get this back across here without any major issues with these divots. All right, perfect. So for the time being, I'm just going to leave this right here just for a time-saving thing, and we'll move it back over there a little bit later on. But, yeah, lots and lots of clothes to put up here. Lots and lots of clothes to put up here. I'm going to try to stack one more up here, actually. I think I can easily do that. I can easily get one more. Probably get another one on top of there, honestly, if I really wanted to, but... I almost think that what I'm showing here probably is going to be enough. I don't think we're going to have much more than that, personally. Easy. Whoa! Whoa, we're gonna lose that one again. Real quick, while we're doing this, I know I've mentioned this a couple of times. I'm going to mention it again. The time that this releases, I think, if I'm getting my days right here, I think this will be releasing on a Friday this week. My other channel, I've kind of briefly mentioned it a bit, but if you're interested in other things besides Farming Simulator, and if you're not, that's perfectly fine. Just ignore my next 2-minute spiel here. I am starting the playthrough at this point of Halo Campaign Evolved. So it's basically a remake of the original Halo, or remaster of the original Halo, however you want to word it, or however you want to call it. I'm very, very excited about it, man. That's it's got a special place in my heart there, that original Halo. So if it is something you're interested in, and you want to see some other things that I might be doing, maybe go check out my other channel. There's a link down below. Bit of a shameless plug for myself, and I normally don't do it all that often. I've been doing it a lot lately, just for multiple reasons, but I'm really excited about it. So if you want to see me doing some other enjoyable things that's not Farming Simulator, I guess what I'm trying to get at is maybe go give my other channel a follow and check that out and see if it's something you're interested in or not. I'm really, really hoping that it's good. I'm really hoping that's good. I'm recording this, technically it's Wednesday night, so I'm really, really, really hoping it's good. Even if they keep it identical and just upgrade the graphics, which is really what I'm hoping for, like, I think I'll be pretty happy with it, right? I think I'll be pretty happy with it. But if they screw it up, then man, it's gonna be a shame. Let's hope they don't. But again, don't have a whole lot of faith in them. They just haven't been that good since Bungie left. That's my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. It's just my opinion. Okay, there we go. I think we got everything in there. I think everything's out of there now. I don't think there's anything else in here with the exception of a small amount, which I'm just going to go ahead and put them on selling. We'll just put them on selling. But yeah, maybe the palletizer, I turned it on, by the way, off camera. I turned on the spinach there, so maybe that's the reason why. I don't know. I can't imagine any other reason besides that. But I don't know. Perhaps that's it. All I know is we're about to make an absolute buku amount of money. We have 35,000 liters of clothes that are going to be sold, plus 3,000 liters of crickets, which we know that's going to be about 2,000 each, so $6,000 extra dollars with the crickets. But 35,000 liters, gang. That is absolute astronomical number we're going to be getting into the bank account here. This is going to be a pivotal change to the series as we move forward here. We are about to be rich. Makes me want to utilize the old school wrestling. Well, it was, I guess, initially a long time ago. I think Vince McMahon used it, but then it was moved to his son or whatever, Shane McMahon. Here comes the money. It makes me want to drop that in here, but you know, I'd get copyrighted, so I can't do it. But it's going to be crazy, man. This is going to be crazy. I don't know if anybody watched wrestling when they were growing up. I did. I watched wrestling when I was growing up. I'm not afraid to admit that. I think most kids did, right? The 90s was a hell of a time for wrestling, though, man. That 90s was a hell of a time. Okay, here we go, gang. Here we go. What's it gonna be? What's it going to be? I'm expecting nearly 500,000. $785,000. We just opened up a whole different can on this series right now. This is... Man, I love it. Ah, you love it. We are set. We are set for a while now. We really are. We are set for a while. This is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So amped up about that. On the way back here, used market-wise, there is another harvester out here, but the harvester we have, even though it's a Massey Ferguson and we use Massey Fergusons a lot, we're not utilizing the one we have currently a lot. And it's a little bit better than this one. This one has 221. The one we have is 250 horsepower. And honestly, for the time being, right now, we're going to get really big here really quickly now with this kind of money. But for the time being, I think what we have is honestly sufficient. It's plenty. It really is. It's plenty. So, man, that's awesome. Gosh, that is so awesome. I love that. That was the best idea that I've had, was switching to cotton. It was the best idea I've had. We were struggling for sure with this series, and that is a huge, huge change there. Probably should have bought the hoe or weeder when I was up there, but that's all right. That's okay. All right, so worker, I don't know what they're doing, but whatever. Let's get into the harvester here. Now, really, I probably could put this on the trailer like we did before and bring it back here, but I'm just going to drive it there. We got to get a header for this thing. So let's just look at this. Which one? What is this? The 8250 or something like that? 8570. 8570. All right. So if we go into the shop here, we find harvesters. We go to the 8570, which is this one. 6 meter width for the header. I think that's sufficient for the time being. It's only 30 grand, which is awesome. I'm going to make it black. I kind of like the black there with the red. And we'll head on up and pick that up. And I will meet you back here, and we'll get started on doing a harvest. Okay, we are underway here, gang. We are harvesting our field for the very first time with an actual harvester, not a manual. This is amazing. So excited about it. So excited about it. We're also dropping straw, by the way. Might as well, right? You can utilize that for the upcoming cows, which are going to be here before you know it, now that we have all this money. We are going to be spending a good chunk on the cows directly. The worker is evidently in the situation where they're having a bit of an issue, so let's see if we can help them out here. Kind of expected that they were going to have an issue, but, you know. Let's see if we can reset it for him, see if this helps or not. Looks like that's going to be okay. Hopefully. But yeah, man, we are underway. Our first ever harvest without utilizing a manual piece of equipment on this map, on this challenge. This is a pivotal day for us, man. This is huge. We are... finally making really good progress, man. It feels really good to be able to do this now. This is huge, man. Huge. It is not going to take us long at all to get either one of these fields done. Obviously, we're going to have to get all the straw up, which is fine. We can do that too. Doesn't necessarily mean that all has to be done today. Like I said, we're going to be doing 2 episodes here in April. There's really no way around that. We've just got too much to do. Now, you could say, well, you could split it up and add it to, you know, the next month. And you're right, I could, but... like I said, we're going to have a lot to do in the following months here. We've got a lot of money. We're going to plan to utilize every single bit of this money for the most part. And so we really need to get everything else, kind of all the other housekeeping kind of taken care of, everything done. So that way we can actually utilize that money. Cows, more land, starting the house, things like that, right? All of those things are coming down the pipe here very, very soon once we get everything else in order. Because I believe once we get all of this stuff taken care of, I think we might have a month or two where we have only a small amount of things to do. And what I mean by that is, in other words, we're going to have fields that are kind of in the growing stages, right? You know, this field right here, obviously, it's going to need to be drilled in the next episode. But the rest of these fields here, they're not going to be ready to harvest for a while, right? So, you know, having this money and being able to kind of expand and do the things I've been talking about doing up to this point is going to be pivotal for us. We're still going to plan to put all the cows over there in that corner up near the hill there. That's still the goal. I am going to have to probably buy another piece of land to really make that happen, since I made that field a little bit too large there. But that's okay. It's not a big deal. Man, it's nice to have such it's really not that much bigger, but it's just overall faster. It's just nice to have an overall bigger harvester in comparison to what we're using the triple thread challenge. Man, that one is starting to really annoy me a bit with just how slow it is and turning around and starting and stopping. It's just, it's a struggle, man. It's starting to annoy me a little bit. So this one is significantly faster than that, and it's just a nice change of pace, I guess is how I'll put it. Now, I will say that almost entirely, well, almost every single bit of this that we're going to get out of this field right now is likely going to be put in for the chickens. I don't know how much they'll accept or they'll take, but we're going to put as much of that as we can in there. One thing to note, right now, at the current stance right now, we don't have any kind of a trailer to unload this into, right? We do have a trailer that can be utilized for that, but at its current stance, excuse me, we're utilizing it for picking up the cotton bales, right? Soon enough, when we do buy that cotton harvester, which is going to take up a good chunk of the money that you see right here, we won't really need, you know, that flatbed auto load trailer anymore. Well, we might, but we won't really need it for cotton anymore. And so we can turn it back into a normal trailer at that point if we want to. But it's probably going to be in our best interest as we move along here to get a bit of an upgrade to the trailer as well, right? Honestly, for the trailer, I would love to see something pop up in the used market, though, before I do that, right? I don't know if I necessarily want to buy a brand new one. I certainly can, but I would love to see one in the used market. There's not one there now at current, but still would be something nice to have, I think. How are the chickens, by the way? I bet they're out of food. They are out of food. We should go get them some food right now. As a matter of fact, what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and jump in to get in all of this done. We're going to get this field done, and we're going to get the barley field directly behind us done. I am going to go ahead once we get full here and unload all of this into the chicken coop so we can get them back in operating and actually producing some eggs for us again. And then hopefully when all of that's done, we'll be able to continue to drop more of that in there. Like I mentioned, we're going to have a field here that's going to be needed for the chickens moving forward, and realistically this field right here we're looking at, it's not going to be having anything put into the ground in it for a little while. I'm going to combine it with the field you see behind us, so it's just going to be sitting kind of in a stagnant period for a little while. So that's why I'm not too concerned about getting the straw up on this one today. The one across the way there, barley, yeah, maybe we should probably do it, but we can do it in the next episode here in April. Like I said, we're going to have plenty to do in April, so it doesn't necessarily have to be today. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is if I absolutely have to not do something and we want to move to the next month, this is going to be the field we're not going to do anything on. In other words, we're not going to even worry about picking the straw up on this field until it's really the last thing that we have to do, because it's like I said, it's going to sit here anyway for a while until that field and straight ahead of us right now is ready to harvest. So I'm not really going to focus too much on this field after it's harvested. There's not really a need to. There are other fields that are more important than this one right now. Does that make sense? I don't know. I feel like I explained that a little confusing. I was a little confusing with my explanation there, but hopefully it makes sense what I was trying to get at. Anyway, I've rambled long enough. We've rambled for a while. Let's get into this. Let's get it done. are on the final strip here, and both of these wheat and barley fields are done. We've obviously given the chickens quite a bit of food. It looks like they still can hold more. My whole purpose for the wheat and barley, at least for right now, was to feed the chickens. So we're going to continue to put this back into the chickens for the time being. Eventually, we'll probably start making, some flour, things like that, and then utilize the eggs a bit, right, to try to make some other kind of bakery type of items. But that's a future goal, not anywhere near right now. So preference right now, honestly, would just be to go ahead and put this stuff in there for the chickens and then keep the remaining amount of sorghum that we have over there and sell that directly, right? Because it's worth a little bit more money. So worker did finish plowing that field up, but as you can see, there are definitely pieces or parts that were missed there, so we are going to have to do a little cleanup work there. Evidently we're not close enough. There we go. So let's jump into that and try to do that cleanup work ourselves here. It's pretty much going to be all around the outside edges here where things were missed. Also, want to upgrade the plow as well. It'll be the plow that we use all the time. This is one of those situations or instances, I guess, where I'm not really going to care that much about trying something new. I really don't like your more traditional plow. I like the plows that are like this. Which are pull behind in more of a horizontal versus that kind of a diagonal, staggered state. It's just my personal preference. I just don't like the normal, atypical plow. So we'll continue to go with these. Now we are going to have to get the stones up off this field as well before we drill it. This is going to be cotton right back into this field. But we need to get the stones up. Doesn't have to all be done today. Like, we're getting up there in time already for this episode. So, we do have another episode, like I mentioned already a number of times. So we can always do something then if we need to. I do think my goal, though, today, honestly, is going to be to try to get the stones up off of this field. And then leave the remaining stuff. So all of the, we're going to be, I guess, forage wagon picking up all of the straw off the ground. And then kind of plowing those fields and getting them prepped and ready to go. All of that will really probably be the next episode. I don't think we're going to have enough time for them today. Now, a couple things I would like to do, I think, right off the bat here. I think I would at least like to buy Field 74 here, or Plot 74. It gives us part of the island. We can then start spending a little bit of money. We're certainly not going to be able to utilize everything that I want to do, but we can spend a little bit of money. And maybe I can even run a test offline, but we can spend a little bit of money trying to figure out exactly how we're going to get over there. Obviously, we're going to pull the land that way. It is possible. When I first looked that up, I did not think it was possible because when I bought the land, I tried to basically, pull the land up directly from the middle. That did not work, but if you try to pull it, from the edge of the sand there, at the edge of the main island, I guess, it does work. It costs a lot of money, but it does work. So that's the way we're going to have to go about it. I mentioned in the past, and I still plan to do this, that when that time comes for us to start pulling that across, I'm not going to just make a whole sandbar directly across. I am going to pull the sand out a little bit, make a bit of a sandbar, and then put a bridge across so the water will still go underneath. I just like that idea a lot. I like being able to have the water passage still go there. Just going to take another shortcut right through here. I think what I'm going to do actually is put a worker on getting the stones up here, and then I think we'll head back up to the shop and try to get a hoe to be able to take care of the weeds there. We need to do that, and I don't want to lose sight of doing that, so I'd like to do that sooner than later, and I think I'll forget about it probably by the next episode if I don't do it now. So let's put a worker on doing this. Worker will probably run into some issues here. They normally do, unfortunately, just with how close that field is down there to the sheep. But, ooh, speaking of the sheep, we didn't really look at the sheep. How are they doing? Do we need food there? They're okay. They probably do need some grass because they're almost out, but they do have some meadow grass, so You know, that's a last-ditch thing. They can eat some of that meadow grass, but we probably do need to move some grass down there. We can do that in the next episode as well. Now, where are we going to put this header at? Because the header clearly does not fit into there. So I think for the time being, I'm actually just going to put it back here. We will find a better location for it. But really, it can sit outside. It doesn't necessarily need to be inside. In the past, and it's just because I didn't really know, I always thought that the header you would want to keep the header under cover too, but you really don't need to. It's just mostly the harvester that you need to be under cover. All right, just making sure I got the door closed. All right, we'll close that up because we're not going to need that for a while. You know, everything else that we have really, besides this one field here, is all going to be, you know, cotton. The soybeans, of course, we'll take care of that when the time comes, but they're not going to be ready anytime soon either, right? So, yeah, okay, good. All right, so let's jump into the Fiat here. And I think you guys already know which one I'm going to get. Hopefully the Fiat can even do it. I don't even know if I checked that. That's probably something I should have checked, but I didn't. There it is, Weeders. So it's going to be this guy, 160 horsepower. It should be able to do that. This is the one we're going to get. We use this one often. It's more expensive than I thought it was. It's 36. So a little more pricey than I was hoping for, but that's okay. That's okay. This one is actually not much more, and it's a much wider. Much wider. Actually, no, it's not. Never mind. I thought this said 6. This is 12.4 and 12. This is less. Just barely, but it's less. All right, anyway, we're going to buy the Pottinger here. Our typical one we always buy. So let's go get that from the shop, and I will meet you here in this field, and we'll get the weeds taken care of there and cleared up. Okay, pulling back up here. Now, we might be struggling a bit here without a front weight, honestly, on this, but we'll see how it goes. I can utilize some kind of a makeshift weight. We can use maybe the winch or something as a makeshift weight on the front here if we absolutely have to, but let's see how things go here. It doesn't seem to be really struggling all that much at all once it's on the ground. It's just when you're driving along up in the air, it's a little much. But as you can see, this really doesn't take us long at all, which is exactly what I was hoping for. Now, this first time that, well, I guess it's the second time really, but the first time that it's been regrowing the spinach here, honestly, it's not going to be that big of a deal because, you know, we'll just make whatever we get off of it. No big deal. But hopefully by the time it's ready to harvest and regrow again, we will have the cows at that point, which means we will have the manure and or slurry that we can help utilize to try to get the fertilization on this field a little bit higher, right? Now, I'm not saying it's going to continue to be spinach the entire time because I said this is going to be more of our experimental type of field, right, where we can utilize some crops that the harvesters themselves are as expensive or more expensive than our cotton harvester that we're going to get, and you know, allows us to do some fun things where we otherwise would not be able to do, utilizing the manual harvesting approach. And that's going to be the case, right? We're going to continue with that approach, but for a little while here, since it regrows, we might as well get our money's worth for all the seeds we put down and you know, at least do it a couple of times, right? That's the way I look at it, at least. Fortunately, the hoe here was a little bit more expensive than I thought, but that's okay. We still got plenty of money. I am going to go ahead and buy this field. I was talking about it. I'm going to go ahead and buy it. 24,000. I'm not going to worry about any of the other fields or the other portion of the island yet. We'll do that later on. Not worried about that one right now, honestly. We'll get there when we get there. The house itself, I had planned to put somewhere in this vicinity right here, in between the diamond reticle there. So that should be sufficient for us to at least get started on the house when we want to. Probably won't be today. I can tell you it won't be today. Won't be April at all. Won't be the month of April at all. I can tell you that much. But soon enough, like I said, we're not going to have as much to do. So at that point, we'll start buying some of the land that has some trees on it, knocking the trees down, utilizing some of the stones, and start producing things for the house. Obviously, we've got to get those productions, which are also another cost, right? So, you know, $750,000 sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but it's going to be gone before you know it, especially with paying $400 and something thousand, almost $500,000 for a cotton harvester, right? It's going to be gone before you know it. Now, we do have a few harvesters in there, the manual harvesters that we can go and sell, and we will go and do that. I'm not too concerned about doing it right now. Again, they're not really worth all that much anyway. They're worth a very, very small amount, but, you know, we will sell those when the time comes, when it's a little bit later on. And we have some stuff to take back up to the store, of course. But as it currently sits, that's where we're at. We've got a lot left to do here in April. Probably one more episode. Who knows? Maybe we do even a third one. Who knows? But the workers blocked kind of knew that was going to happen too. We'll find out, I guess, as we move along. But we'll continue the process here of what we're doing here. The worker taking care of the rocks here and just kind of cleaning everything up. We'll continue this in the next one. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would greatly appreciate it if you smashed the like and subscribe button in the case you've yet to do so. They are free to do. It helps me out an absolute ton. Thanks to all of my members for all their continued support. It really does mean the world to me. If you want early access to videos like this one, there's a link down below where you can become a member. There's multiple tiers. First tier is just kind of to help and support me and show your support for the channel. You don't get any main perks with it. Second one is you get early access to videos like this one, and then obviously there's even a higher tier after that. But so check that out if you're interested in it, if you want to see this stuff early. Also, like I mentioned earlier, check out my second channel, Halo Campaign Evolved playthrough, coming very, very soon. As a matter of fact, it should already be out by the time this is released. At least one episode should be out, maybe two. Who knows? Really is going to depend on how far we get, I guess. I'm going the wrong way. We need to go this way. Check out the Discord. Everything you need, it's all down below. The shop should be live this weekend for everyone. Like I said, if you want early access to that, join the Discord. There's a link below. Or if you're a member, there is a link out there for you as well as a member. So thanks so much for watching, gang. Thanks so much for your support as always, and I'll see you next time.